Hi guys, welcome to today's video. In today's video, we will look into a scenario in which the Arabian subcontinent unites under a single banner. The first thing they do is annex all of what's left of Jordan. But Jordan now kind of looks like Croatia. Well, that was before it was gone, but yeah. And then they decide it's time to go into an incursion into Iraq. They're gone on a vacation, I guess. But then they'll invade Iran. And also, we're also using a different color because I said so. Because red might have been getting repetitive. And as they move in towards the capital, they also make a push towards here. Which, with these few pushes, they manage to basically make this area not really able to fight. And then they make forces move into here. And yeah, that neutralizes that area. As they make a few spare heads to go out to here. As they move this up, forces move in from here. As you can tell. All the forces are coming here. And now the Battle of Baghdad has broke out. Fighting continues. Eventually, after the collapse, a few areas fall. And then eventually Iraq completely capitulates. Which is good, I guess, or bad. Depends. There's just something happening over here. Where the whole of Israel and Palestine somehow becomes part of this. Yep. As they come up with a treaty for Iraq, they just fully annex it. And it took them about 2 weeks to come up with it. No, it didn't. It took them no time, but yet. With Arabia now turning into what we generally call Arabia. Which is generally considered to be south of Anatolia. West of Iran. And east of Egypt, I guess. Basically, the center of the Middle East. As they're ready for war with two nations. But this time, they invade a bit differently, with making spearheads still. But differently. As they make a spearhead into Lebanon and quickly take Beirut. Causing the fall of the country. With here, they're now making a push towards Damascus and one towards to just do that, which they end up doing. And now they're making spearheads. They make one up the coast and one to take the northern land. And eventually, after taking the capital of Syria, and eventually these lands are out. And so they end up taking this. And then Syria surrenders, giving full annexation. With Arabia becoming more and more the Arabian Empire. Pretty quick they're turning to the Arabian Empire, if you ask me. Which is pretty good. Look how much land they have taken over. Yep, they have taken over a big area. To the point where Iraq, Iran, and Egypt launch a campaign. Also, keep in mind this would also use spearheads, but it's such a big front, so it might not. So they might be a bit bigger. With Turkey marching in from the north, the first offensive of many being by Turkey, who makes a spearhead down here and tries to take these lands. With a spearhead towards Baghdad being made by Iran and the movement into northern Iraq, along with a few Turkish troops. Yeah. And they move into Kuwait successfully. With Egypt's plan being to move up. With Egypt also making a landing here. And part of their goal is to take a huge part of Arabia's land. With Arabia mobilizing all of their troops is what their goals are. With Baghdad already having fallen, and these lands being not very militarized, they quickly fall. And so, here lands are moved. Once Egypt and Turkey connect their troops. And then this is really what the front line looks more like. After these lands were taken, and slowly over here they move in. With Arabia's hold being made weak, eventually they take these lands, and after these lands, well, Arabia makes its first counter-offensive, which is close to its capital, Riyadh. I'm going to call it Arabia, despite the fact it's the Arabian Sub Continent unified. As they move towards here, Egypt is the front they focus on pushing back first, and they set up a defensive along here. Now, it's seeming like their next move will be Iran, as they're trying to get air supremacy over where Iran lies. And so they move into the Sinai Peninsula quickly, with troops being here because of the nature. They also launch an attack from the sea, which is right here. And this landing is successful, as nobody expected this. As they move over towards the Nile, which has most people in Egypt, they're also moving up the coast, which also is beneficial. With these lands being taken and eventually a dash to go past Alexandria. Now they cut Cairo off from Alexandria, and they take that city. Then they move into Cairo. They take Cairo, no problem. With Egypt basically at this point being like, yeah, we surrender, because they had nothing left to do. With their attack towards Iran being started, with them setting up defensives around where Turkish troops are, and they're holding them back. But with it ending up looking like this. Iran then loses their coast that they've taken from Saudi Arabia. Not Saudi Arabia, I mean the Arabian thing that was created. And with this being the point where they launch an amphibious landing in this area of Iran. Why this area? Because they could easily take off Balochi areas in Iran. And they use this to take a huge swath of Iran. They eventually take the coast and do this area just abruptly leaving. With Azerbaijan seeing its benefits are greater to help the Arabians than it is to help the Turks. Which means their relations that have been good for most of recently would be gone. And they start an invasion here. This invasion makes a spearhead towards the capital of Tehran, this one, and this one. And the first one to get there, they've said will get, extra money. And so this group manages to get there first and manages to take the city. Right when these ones get there, they take the city. This area falling, this area, and this area. Arabia eventually made this be the front line. And at this point, they invite Greece to join the war because Greece wants to join it for some reason. They told Greece to join the war if they want at this point because they said the whole Turkish front is under control. But as they don't have troops there yet, Greece hasn't started its attack yet. With a big encirclement of Turkish troops being taken out with the troops. Taken prisoner, I guess, or whatever. As Greece moves and manages to take Istanbul, and they started an offensive here. With them being attacked on 3 fronts, the chances of them winning are slim to none. With them moving up here and moving towards Ankara along with Greek forces, having managed to set up a front line in Anatolia. And they're kind of like the Magali plan, to be honest. And then this happens. Turkey is forced to capitulate, and a peace conference is held. That's pretty much a lot in this video so far. But yeah. Final kind of thing, really, for this unified area. Libya, Sudan, and yeah, they kind of started a bit of a big conflict, but I wonder how many troops they actually had ready. With them managing to do this, that's the wrong color, so let's fix it, because we can't have them go like this. As they split Sudan off, and a landing takes place in Somalia, with Somalia's defenses being weak. They managed to go right down the coast. This is around when troops start arriving from other nations, but like the amount of manpower in this is hundreds of thousands. It'd take millions to stop this. With a stalemate being established in Ethiopia. With Khartoum falling and the full of Sudan falls after the rest of the Nile falls in their country. Which leads to a stalemate on Ethiopia on 2 fronts somehow. Now it's 3 fronts they have stalemates on. But Ethiopia doesn't give up, and they manage to even resist, even pushing them back into other territories. And they take this, and they're pushed back to their actual borders. Kinda. Mostly, but I need to put the lands they weren't kicked out of, which include lands they managed to establish here. After the fact they did this. Managed to do that, and a bit of Eritrea's land, but this is where they agree to a stalemate. Well, not a stalemate, but, stopping the fighting. So, ceasefire. This is where the fall of the Libya happens. With Libya falling and an agreement for a peace treaty being signed. Ethiopia included. With Ethiopia getting a lot of lands they want, but not all. And this empire getting what they want. After the treaty, they annexed Sudan, Libya, Djibouti, most of Somalia, and parts of Eritrea. And Ethiopia got coastal access now because they managed to repel enough to get these lands. And so the Arabian, let's say, subcontinent, as you can tell, is much bigger than the Arabian subcontinent. So it's just too big for it to hold with multiple ethnicities, but it has the same language. So that's hard to say. Will they be able to hold it or not? Let's see. That's all for today's video. Please like and subscribe. Wild Mapper out. And if you want to see a video where this collapses, comment and I will do it. If more than 5 people say I should do that. Or if I get 10 likes, I'll do that. So please like and subscribe. We have 70 left to go. And that would be great. That's all for today's video. Wild Mapper out. Bye, guys.